Care to pay for a useful tip? A wise choice indeed. Maiden Thurland and her followers recently arrived in this land, but she became stranded deep below the catacombs. Her followers either fled or were reduced to hollows, leaving Maiden Thurland all alone. Not a bad tip, huh? A nubile cleric would be replete with humanity. That tip I gave you? I heard it from a fleeing old man. That poor bastard. All his robes and trinkets won't help him now. Our futures are...
Hello there everybody, my name is Michael, welcome back to Dark Souls 1. Now, I did not know about this little thing with paying for intelligence for many playthroughs. I had played the game, honestly, for months before I found out about this, because one of the difficulties of playing a Metroidvania game is that you will, you can play the game however you darn well like, and you will occasionally, not play the game in the exact way in order to hear that thing, but apparently you can go down to Lautrec and pay for intelligence, where he will tell you the secret about what happened to to Rhea of Thorelund, and not Maiden Astraea, Rhea of Thorelund, and what happened to her when she went down into the catacombs. And apparently she was abandoned.
Oh, hello.
By
Have you
this
spoken with
bastard
Sir
right here.
Lautrec? Splendid. In the depths of the catacombs, Milady slipped off the giant's coffin and into a hole. Her two companions are no longer human, and the lass weeps in solitude. Right now, you could do as you please with her. The poor little purebred is entirely helpless. Come again. The effectiveness of the
And I think that Japanese games have a real hostility to organized religion, which is something I enjoy seeing. There are so many games, like some of the Megami Tensei games, these games, even some of the Final Fantasy games that have very strong, nasty attitudes about religion, or especially organized religion, which I enjoy seeing. So what apparently happened, as I mentioned, I think in the last episode, that Lautrec just revealed to us, and that he confirmed to us, is that apparently Rhea was abandoned after she fell, as he said, I'm putting that in quotes here, fell off of one of the tombs in the catacombs. I don't necessarily believe that, because, we meet a person later on in the game who pushes us off one of these ledges in the catacombs, and he's not very nice about it, so maybe he did it, or maybe Petrus here did it, or maybe somebody else did it, but we learn that Petrus is not really fond of rich people. He doesn't like the upper class, the purebloods, of which Rhea is a part, and he tried to hurt her in some way. So ultimately the goal of going to the catacombs is to obtain the secret treasure that the clerics were going to get, and also to save Rhea of Thorelund, who's at the bottom, who will become our new miracles teacher, and give us all of the miracles, or will teach us all of the miracles that Petrus would, except they'll be much cheaper. They'll be much more reasonably priced. The catacombs are right down here, and you can access them from the very beginning of the game, but they are pretty difficult for that early on. The enemies in them, the skeletons, can parry, so you have to be aware of that if they go into their parry stance. And they actually have a fair amount of health. It's taken me about 3 hits apiece to kill these guys. Maybe I should switch over to my reinforced club. But I'm not sure about that. Well, maybe I will in a bit. But The trick to the catacombs that I did not figure out right away and had to come back much later to determine is that apparently in the catacombs these skeletons are being animated by necromancers. And these necromancers, this is so confusing, I hated this. The necromancers are within the level. We have to pass by, in this first area, about 4 or 5 skeletons before we actually get to the necromancer. And even though the necromancer is hidden away and not in a direct line of sight with any of them, he will automatically resurrect the skeletons after we kill them until we go and kill the necromancer. You can also kill the skeletons with a divine weapon, such as the Astora's Straight Sword, which you can get from the undead dragon just below us. But that's really only effective if you're a faith character. You can't really use it without that. So we're going to have to charge down here and try to run past some of these skeletons and kill the necromancer before we get caught up with 4 or 5 of these guys all trying to kill us. And to make it even worse, we're on a ledge here when we first come in. There's a pit, and there are floating skulls filled with fire that will explode if we get too near them in a kamikaze attack. So there's a lot of shit going down here, and we have to make sure that we can do this. That fucking lock-on. That fucking lock-on. God damn it. Oh boy. Alright, just jump down here. Roll. We'll take a look at this room when we come back. But first, we have to take care of Mr. Fuckhead in here. Oh boy. As long as we suicide and kill the necromancer, it doesn't matter. Even if this guy kills us. Okay, then now that the necromancer is dead, we lucked out. He will remain permanently dead, that necromancer there. We do not have to worry about him anymore. This guy, right over here. So they did give you that courtesy. The necromancers only have 1 life. You do not have to come back and re-kill them. And now all of the enemies in the area up to the necromancer can now be killed rather than restoring. I'm going to show you the skeletons restoring to life in just a second. And you can't just run past this area. You have to push the lever here. You have to come down here. Now the catacombs are a really cool looking area. And I just love all of this. Look at the walls, the scarab beetles. You can see them moving if you stop for a second. It reminds me of the Mummy with all of the... Ew, just look at all the nastiness, all the horrid bugs moving around on the wall. This is brilliantly designed. Nothing like this was in Dark Souls 2. All of these bugs everywhere. And what's on the wall here? They almost look like carvings of something, but... I mean, this part of the wall doesn't look natural. It looks almost like it's made out of clay or something rather than rock. But it's really cool looking in here. Let us head back over here. And now we can kill these skeletons as normal. I don't know if the boulder sword is that great for this. And just look at all this. The little skeletons of people that you can crumble as you can move by. I mean, this is so cool. This is so well done. And, the fact that they made just basic skeleton characters, which are in every, frickin' every game ever. Every RPG game has, some skeletons and some zombies, but they did it brilliantly in this game to make it cool and unique. And just look at this mountain of skulls here. This is so cool looking. Some days you can just go around and look at the game. Just watch all the textures and the art. It's really fantastic. Now we're going to head down over here. And the Catacombs, I should stress, is a very difficult part of the game that I had a real trouble with when I first came in. It is agonizingly difficult, I think, your first time through. Look at these cool statues on the wall here. These ones look kind of half-formed. Like you can't quite see what's on them. Like they didn't even finish carving them in a way. But let's take a look. Remember what I said about mixing up ranged attacks? There's the other necromancer right over there. And he can shoot fire at us. I don't know if that's a spell that we can get as a pyromancer, like Fireball or something. It looks a little different from Fireball, but if I had an upgraded bow, this would be a lot faster, but it is so much better to just kill this guy and the next one, and really almost all of the necromancers with ranged attacks. It just makes it so much easier. Because without that, things get very, very difficult very quickly. There we go. You may want to come in here early because there is an amazing dex weapon in here that we are going to be getting, and probably using at some point during the playthrough. Appropriately enough, the weapon is a scythe, and it is easily the best dex weapon in the entire game, if not the best weapon in the game. There's an archer right up there. If you don't have a bow, again, you're kind of screwed. I'd recommend bringing a bow and a lot of arrows. I don't know if this guy's going to respawn. It's hard to remember which, necromancer he's tied to. Bullcrap, you can hit me, and I can't hit him. That was an odd attack. Why did they sort of, like, do this weird barrel roll? Or I don't know what that is exactly. Ah, crap. I wanted to take him out here. But I don't think I quite can. Ugh. Really, I have 20 dex and I'm doing shit against him. But, I mean, I guess in RPG logic, a piercing weapon versus a skeleton is probably not going to do a lot of damage compared to a blunt weapon. Let's see what we got here. There is also, I believe, another guy. Yes, there is. There you are. Kind of hoping I get lucky and have these guys drop their falchion. Because getting the regular falchion is a little bit of a bitch. At least for the way I feel like playing the game or doing the playthrough to show you guys stuff. The rest of these guys use scimitars. So they're all using these fast curved weapons. These enemies' rolling attacks here that he's doing is based on something that happened in Demon's Souls. However, Demon's Souls, which I would argue is the hardest of the 3 games, these skeletons were not only super fast, they could roll and take away your durability really fast, they were also big and had a fair amount of HP and huge, heavy weapons. So they fucked you in all kinds of ways in Demon's Souls, so you should just be kind of happy about these skeletons in this one, honestly, because compared to Shrine of Storms, this ain't nothing. Come on, Falchion. No? Alright. There's a great weapon right over here called the Lucerne Hammer. This is one of the best weapons in the game. It's awesome. It is a polearm that was known in French as the bec de Gorbon, and that's where I know it from D&D from. And that's usually what I call it, a bec de Corbon. But a Lucerne Hammer, bec de Corbon, whatever you want to call it, this was a truly amazing polearm that looked really cool. I remember I had a character in D&D that used a bec de Corbon. And I'll show you that. Where are you, Mr. Third Guy? I thought there was another one. Oh, I guess not. But that is one of the reasons you'd want to come in here early in the game. Let's take a look at the Lucerne Hammer here, just to show you. I think I have enough. Okay, I can two-hand it. It's got very reasonable stats. You know, it feels like more of a starting game weapon at 15 strength, 12 dex. But this is what it looks like, and it has a great moveset. It's got a lot of cool things about it. I believe the R1 you can thrust from behind a shield, which I don't think I can do because I don't have the strength, but you can still do a lot of cool stuff with this. It can thrust, it can slash, it's got all kinds of good stuff going on for it. It is a great early game weapon. And I've used it for several builds. It's highly recommended. Although I could barely, I could barely even get to the bec de Corbon when I was first playing the game. So, the Lucerne Hammer, the Lucy, it's right there if you want it. Great weapon all around. There's just one more guy in here, I think. Yes, there is. And I can't believe I need 3 hits to take these guys out. I guess, what level am I? 28? That's still pretty low. Let's take a look over there. There is in the background, if you can see there, a necromancer who we may not be able to kill from here because he can sort of like bugger off a little bit to the back there and get out of our range, which is unfortunate. There's also 2 of those guys there that will make getting to the necromancer very difficult. Can he hit us from here? Maybe. Can you get him? Excellent. And hopefully, let's see if we can get these guys to roll off. Yes, we can. If you just attack them at range, they will immediately go into their roll attack and start coming at you and just die. You know, just fall off. I don't know if they die or they fall off to another level, but I think they died. And you'll notice here the bridge here is covered in horrible, wicked spikes. And that's not good. What are we going to do about that? Well, we have to go all the way over around here to a lever. And because we killed the necromancer over there, the skeletons we meet along the way will not be able to respawn. Or rather, they will not be able to get back up after we kill them. If you do not have arrows, you're just going to have to run past them and try to reach it. And just go for it, hit it. If you suicide, it doesn't matter. You know, just try to get to it as quickly as you can, and then come back again another time and do it. Just like that. There's a soul item down there we're going to pop over and get. Whoa. Okay. I can parry these guys, but parrying a swift weapon like that is not easy. Soul of the Proud Knights, a couple thousand souls. That's pretty good there. I think there are only 2 more of these guys over here. And if you notice here, now the statues are a hazard, because if you get too close to them, spikes will pop out of it. Only some of them. But, you know, as you're running past, it's kind of hard to tell. So don't get too close to these statues. It's a little dangerous. I didn't mean to get hit there. It was an accident. Alrighty. Now, which way do I want to go down? Because I can just roll off there and get to a bonfire over there, but I guess I'll go down this way, I guess. But first, let's take a look at this beauty. Look at that. That is beautiful. This is another... Again, this area is dark, and it's dirty, and there's skeletons, and there's horror all around. But if you take a look up there, it's beautiful. You know, this waterfall coming down. I think it looks amazing. Let's take a look over here. And... is there a guy here? Yes, there is. 1, 2, 3. Dead? No, he's not dead. There's a necromancer around here. Because you see, I did not actually receive any souls for killing that guy. So, what I think I'm going to do is head over here. Is there an item in this room? No, there's not. Don't walk in there, because that clay-like floor there, you can actually collapse into it and get sent down to another section of the game. So, that becomes a little bit difficult. You can actually backstab skeletons in here, which seems a little strange to me, coming from D&D. So just roll down here, and if you head past this way, there's a lot of spikes on these things here. You can roll through this invisible wall here and get to a very convenient bonfire. And now, I think we can continue through this level a little bit more safely. Now, we have to go see if we can talk to someone, if he is there, which I don't know. We'll have to... I don't think he's going to be there, though. Let's take a look. No, I missed patches. I don't exactly know what does it, but I think if you wait too long after those guys leave before going into the catacombs, patches will not be here. But what's supposed to happen here is Patches comes to this area, you talk to him, you move the bridge over there to move those spikes, and then as you're walking over the spike area, he pushes the lever again and sends you to your death. Now, this is a tricky jump here, which is why I wanted to go onto that bonfire, but we're going to try to do this roll here in order to get the scythe. And it's not super easy, so I may need to cut back. Got it? Very good. And there it is, the Great Scythe. One of the best weapons in the game, probably the best dex weapon in the game. And here is another Necro, or there was. Let's move this. There he is. Are you fucking kidding me? Did the Necromancer just jump off of that pit there? Thank you, Necromancer. Finally, a little cooperation from the necromantic community. Jeez. That was nice, that he just sort of killed himself. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Good. Good. Da-da-da. And... less cooperation. There we go. I don't think there's anything much in here. This is just the normal way down if you don't do that roll. And this area will be blocked, I believe, by that lever. So if you try to come down here and run, just run down, it's not going to work. And there's a spike on this this statue, but we're going to try to inch close to this item and get it. It's just a soul item. Don't worry about it. Even with the shield up, they can still get you. And here's the guy that was giving us that trouble before. There we go. I haven't gotten any drop from these guys, and I got 9 humanity. That kind of sucks. I think there's just another soul item in this area. Nothing really too exciting. I like that the Faucian guys don't have shields. That's nice. Damn spike things. And there we got a scimitar. I'm almost certain we can use the Great Scythe. Now, there is another weapon in the game that you can get after ringing both bells of awakening called just the Scythe, not the Great Scythe. But that weapon is not as good as this one. Let's see here. I can't use it just yet. This is an amazing weapon. The moveset is incredible. The damage scaling that you get with dexterity is magnificent. I think it goes up to an A from a B. It has incredible reach, and it hits very hard, and it does bleed damage. You know, this is just incredible. Of course, I like to think of this as sort of a more magical version of a scythe, because in the real world, peasants in the Middle Ages did use scythes against enemies quite a bit. During peasant revolutions, and it almost never went well. And in order to do it, they would have to change the scythe to sort of turn it upward so the blade was sort of pointing out instead of pointing in, because you can't scythe people down like you're scything wheat or something. And oddly enough, in Demon Souls, you can get a war scythe that looks just like that. Now let's head down here. And we're not going the quick way down, we're going the slow, agonizing way down. I will show you the shortcut later on, but go through this white light. This is not a boss, don't worry about it. Let's just head through here, grab our bow, and... Yes, we can see him. There's a necromancer over there behind a wall, and he is probably going to destroy that wall with his fire for us. Hope we haven't aggroed any of the skeletons down there. Come on. He can hit us with his fireballs from here now, so it's a little bit dangerous. I hope he doesn't fall off the ledge, because he's kind of standing on a ledge there. Because he's knocked back a little bit with each hit. Those guys, by the way, if you can see that just in the distance, are carrying something called a skull lantern, which is the only way to provide illumination in this game. Now, there's something that I forgot to mention earlier that I wanted to mention. Why, plot-wise, I mentioned that Ray of Thorlon at the beginning of this episode was mysteriously going down into the depths and was knocked off this ledge here. But what the heck were they doing in that area? Because the secret relic that they went to gain is before where we find her. So they went down here, presumably defeated the boss that had that secret relic of the church that they wanted, and then just kept going, I guess? I don't know. I don't know why they kept going to go more towards the God of Death. Maybe they thought there were more relics down there, which I guess there are, kinda. I think there's more white titanite at the very least. Come on. Huh. But there are going to be a bunch of skellies down here. But we're going to pop into this room right over here, and it is a pretty dangerous room, because there's a bunch of skeletons on the floor, there's a bunch of all over the place. There are ones with bows and arrows that can hit us as we're doing this. It's not fun, but we're just going to try to run past them because we want to grab an item. And there's a giant skeleton right up here. Another one of those statues with the baby. We're probably going to die here. Fuck. God damn it. Fuck. Okie dokie, come on. Come on now. Ah, shit, the big one came. I didn't think he could fit up here. Let's see if I can run really fast past all this. There's another one in here, too, another skeleton. Shit, shit, shit. That is a developer message there, by the way. Because this shows you how to get back to the first section of the catacombs from the original area if you get lost. But we just want to come over here to get that. And maybe homeward bone out if we get lucky. I think those guys, now that I think about it, can climb ladders. What this is a miracle. And we're just going to go back to the bonfire we were at, because things are getting hairy. And that miracle there, by the way, is called Tranquil Walk of Peace. And Tranquil Walk of Peace is an interesting miracle that causes all of the enemies around you to slow down and walk at a snail's pace. And it's not terribly useful in terms of PvE, but PvP it can be pretty useful to slow down a very quick enemy if you're a slower guy. What we're going to do is turn back to human, and I don't think I talked about this before, but at the bonfire it says kindle. And if you press kindle and you have humanity, you can give some of your soft humanity there and make the fire of any bonfire go up to give you plus 10 Estus flasks instead of plus 5. And the reason that we're going into the catacombs and that secret item that they were trying to get, Rhea and her friends, is a special, they call it a rite or a ritual that allows you to use bonfires to get up to plus 15 and then plus 20 Estus flasks. So an extra 3 humanity dumped into the bonfire, and you'll permanently, every time you rest at that particular bonfire, get 20 Estus flasks. So that's pretty damn good. Plus 1 humanity to make yourself human if you're not already human. Now we're going to go defeat the boss, then come back up here and play through the rest of the section. In order to defeat the boss, go from that bonfire to here, and there's a nice shortcut down to get there. Just have to roll off here. Roll off there. There are kamikaze skeletons that will hit you. And we get an NPC summoned to help us out with this boss fight, which is pretty damn sweet. His name is Paladin Leeroy, and yes, he is a reference to Leeeroy Jenkins from World of Warcraft. And I don't usually do this part. I'm going to pop over here. Just trying to jump to this ledge. And yes, I got it. This is the priest set and also the mace. And it's an excellent club weapon. The enemies down there that Leeroy is smashing to pieces are called Pinwheel skeletons, and they easily take the cake as the most obnoxious effing enemies in the entire fucking Souls series. They are incredibly fast, they will kill you repeatedly, and every time they roll, every hit that they get on you counts as a strike, so they can kill you in a second flat. And if you try to block with your shield, they wear away your endurance so quickly, it's almost impossible to defeat them. But fortunately, Leeroy is down there, and he is a cleric, so he can heal himself a bit afterwards, or use an Estus flask. So we're hopefully going to try to run away and not fight these guys at all, and just, hope that Leeroy defends us. Help me, Leeroy! I don't even believe in Jeebus, help me! Oh, there we go. And hopefully Leeroy will come back down here, and through this fog gate, we will fight the boss of this area named Pinwheel. Pinwheel is the biggest joke of a boss in the entire game. He's the easiest one out there. I have died to Pinwheel before. Again, when I say easiest boss, I mean relative to Dark Souls. He's still hard compared to a lot of other bosses in games. But, yeah, he can be pretty troublesome. Especially because you have to jump down here to get to him. And when you jump down, well, frankly, it hurts. It hurts when you jump down there. And you take a bit of damage. And you start the level with a bit of damage on you. I guess unless you use fall control, but anyway. Let's pop down there. Frequently, by the rite of kindling, you may now kindle beyond the normal limit. You'll notice there that Paladin Leeroy kind of got stuck in a corner there. That's unusual behavior for him. I don't usually see him doing that. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe he saw like a bit of string he was interested in or something. I mean, Paladin Leeroy is brave, but he's not smart. And let's take a look at that rite of kindling, which is under keys, I think. Yeah, rite which boosts bonfire even further. Kindling was a sacred rite passed down among clerics, but all undead can imitate the process. In the same manner, they're restoring their hallowing with humanity. How peculiar that humans had found little use for humanity until they turned undead. So yeah, now we can get 20 Estus flasks up to that if we kindle it instead of just the usual 5 or 10. And we got the Mask of the Father. Let's just take a look at that. The Mask of the Father is this. It looks like sort of a Greek tragedy mask, and it raises your equipment load a little bit. It's used for a particular kind of build in the game called a Giant Dad build, which I guess is sort of like a dad face, they're saying. Let's take a look at this here. One of the 3 masks of the Pinwheel, the necromancer who stole the power of the Grave Lord and reigns over the Catacombs. This mask, belonging to the Valiant Father, slightly raises equip load. There are 2 other things that you can get there. The Mask of the Mother, which is useless because it raises your health by a tiny degree. And the Mask of the Child, which raises... what does the Mask of the Child do? I don't remember, but I remember that being the best one. And that was the Sacred Rite. They also mentioned this. I love this intro here, because even Pinwheel is a dumb boss, and there are a couple of dumb bosses in Dark Souls or Demon Souls, but in Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1, all the bosses look cool, at the very least. And look at the place where he lives, piled up high with books, stacked like he was trying to scour through them for forbidden lore. I love that. I mean, this whole area just looks amazing. Not quite sure why it's wet, though, here. It seems kind of odd. And the lighting with the candles here under the catacombs or tombs or whatever it is, and it's got the skeletons, the skulls there. I forgot to say catacombs. I'm tired of British YouTubers saying catacombs. I don't know what the hell they're doing with that, but it is not catacomb, it is catacomb. You don't comb your hair in Britain, do you? Alright, now, if we take a look down there, it is pitch dark, there's a lot of pits, and that's really the next section of the area, called the Tomb of the Giants, where the God of the Dead lives. However, we don't need to go there yet. There's not really anything of use unless you're a miracle character, and even if there is, it's very, very difficult to get back up after getting back down. It was agonizing. I only did that once, or twice, and I don't want to do that again. Let's pop over here and see if we can grab... Where are you? There's an item over here. Yes, there is. A Soul of a Proud Knight. And I believe there are a few of those obnoxious bone wheel skeletons left down here. If you want to clear this area out of them, just let Leeroy stay down there for a while before going to the boss room to see if you can finish them off. There you are. I screwed up there. Fuck me. Again, got very lucky there. You can actually get these, a drop from these guys that is essentially the wheel, and you can use it as a shield. And you can actually attack people with it. What is that bone doing? It's sort of spinning around weirdly. It's ragdoll physics. I wonder how many of these guys there are. Probably a lot. If I die here, I'm just going to continue on from up there where the bonfire is. Come on. Come on. I don't normally do this because this is exceedingly stupid. But I'm going to try it anyway because, you know, I want to have a little fun here. Do things a little differently. There you are. Take that guy down. One thing I don't like that is missing from Dark Souls 2, whoops, I died there, is, oh, what is it called? The Soul Vessel, because I would like to have a way to change the character's, you know, the character's stats at some point later on if I got bored with a strength character and wanted to go dex, or vice versa. I'm going to go recover my stuff and then just cut back to up here.